Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 311 Griffin YouTube channel. We are in the VSN F-106 Delta Dart, and up ahead we've got some VSN F-105 Thunder Chiefs taking off, or taxiing to take off. We're just going to fly around in this jet while we talk about it a little bit and try it out. I don't fly the VSN mods a lot because they're a little bit wonky. I think they're really good for some additional assets for mission making or for cinematics. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do with them in those regards. But as far as flying them, I've really struggled with most of them to get them like to a point where I really felt like I was flying a jet. It's usually like you can see that I've got an F-15 radar here and F-15 like stores management down below. That's okay. I mean, it's a free mod, and they put a lot of work into these. They look pretty good. They are something that you can fly and have a little fun in. So I'm not meaning to complain. It's just that I don't have a ton of time in DCS, and the time that I do have, I'd rather fly something that is working a little bit more realistically, I guess. That's what I'm getting at. So keep that in mind as we fly this thing. The F-106 is kind of interesting. I really like the Century Series fighters, or just the Century Series aircraft. They're really cool. It's kind of a sort of a groundbreaking and the technology development in that time was kind of cool and interesting. Just as technology advanced and we got better at making things. It's also just interesting to see the design progression and the way the different jets looked. Not just American jets, but jets around the world as they were being developed. The Delta Dart is basically based on the excuse me, the F-102 Delta Dagger, and in fact it was going to be labeled an F-102 variant, but they wound up changing it, and basically it's got some newer engines, and it has it follows the Whitcomb area rule, which if you just look at the outside of it, you can kind of tell. It's sort of hard to tell, but I won't explain that rule here, but if you're interested, go check it out. Just look it up. It's the Whitcomb area rule. It's kind of interesting. And then it's got some variable geometry engine inlets, which is kind of cool and quite necessary for transonic and supersonic flight. F-105s are taking off over here. So anyway, it was just it was meant to be kind of a high-speed all-weather interceptor. It set some speed records and carried some cool air-to-air weaponry, specifically the Genie, which we're going to try to employ. I've tried it once before, and it was a little bit of a struggle. I don't really know how to use it. It's basically an unguided aerial rocket with a nuclear warhead. But for now, we're just going to get out here on the runway, and we are going to take off and climb up, and then we will kind of switch over to attacking a formation of enemy bombers. Also, one thing to note is it does not have nose. You have to engage the nose wheel steering if you're playing this mod and you are trying to taxi around. You will have to basically hold the nose wheel steering button. It's not a toggle, you just hold it, and that's how you get the nose wheel steering. I don't know if that's the way the real jet worked or not. Also, it can be kind of difficult to line up on things because you got a bar right in the front of your windscreen, so it's kind of interesting. He's still got his canopy up, but which is fine. Okay, he is rolling out. Now I'm going to come to a complete stop and then press my brakes, because if I press my brakes, it always yaws to one side or the other. We're going to go full throttle, and we're going to keep our nose wheel steering engaged for just a second. I think we're fast enough we can let off. Oh, we yawed pretty hard for some reason. Let's keep it on the runway. Speed's coming up. Lifting. There we go. Gear up. Wasn't the greatest takeoff. My first one was a little better, but gear has come up. We're going to build a little bit of speed. Now we're going to roll around to a different heading, and then we will climb. Also, I'm not sure how realistic this radar warning system is. There is an SA-2 missile site, SAM site out here somewhere, and this is another thing about, like, on the subject of VSN, and I think it just needs a little bit of tweaking, but the F-102s, I only found them available in ground attack, not SEAD, but they do have some Shrike missiles, and I wanted to put them on a SEAD mission, but I could not do that, so it's probably some tweaking that needs to occur. But we're getting close to 400 knots, so we're going to go ahead and start a climb. This thing climbs pretty well, at least in the one flight that I did with it. Alright, let's level off. We are at 20,000 feet and about 200 knots indicated, just below 200. So we're going to go ahead and keep our full throttle for a minute and build some speed back up. We are going to turn our radar on. I have no idea how the radars worked in this jet, but we're going to turn that on, and we're going to go into long range mode. Okay, we are at altitude and approaching the enemy bomber formation. They're at about 40 miles. I've gone into long range mode, and I've got 2 aim for radar guided, 2 aim for IR guided, and then the air genie. Now, I don't really know how these are supposed to work, these air genies. That's what we're going to try to use. Let's bounce into a closer range. We're just going to lock up the first guy. They shouldn't need a lock because, well, they're unguided. We'll bounce down to that, and we are going to go ahead and open our bomb bay door, which is kind of cool. I don't know the range that these things are effective. I think they just fly out and explode, but we're going to climb a bit and try to get on level with the bombers best we can. And I think we've got to be within like 10 miles, I'm guessing. I don't know for sure. Okay, I see their contrails. Again, I don't think that this lock will really do anything. It should basically just fly out in front of us. Okay, passing 13 miles, 14 miles, something like that. 10 miles. I'm gonna launch Fox whatever. I don't know what that is. And now we got to turn because we don't want to blow up. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That was fantastic. I think that's quite oversimplified. Let's shut that guy up. That is quite oversimplified, and there wasn't like I didn't see a bright flash or anything. Wow. That's crazy. That is crazy. Wow, very cool. Now, just for the record, I can't get the AIM 4s to hit anything. And I don't know how accurate that is, or, those are old missiles. They struggle to track at times. So I don't know how accurate that is, if it's just me not shooting them correctly, or if it's an oversimplified. I'm guessing they're oversimplified a little bit. But that's okay. I just think that's probably the way it works. They're older missiles. They don't track that well, especially when you're pulling Gs. That's one thing, and they're probably oversimplified in this module as well. And I'm probably not implementing them or employing them quite right either. So it's probably a little bit of everything. So I tried to get this thing to go into a flat spin, just because you guys know the story. There's the cornfield bomber, F-106. It's an interesting story. It's kind of neat. I haven't been able to get it into an actual flat spin yet, and quite honestly, I'm out of time to try. So we're just going to try to land. I have tried to land this once before, and it's a bit tricky. So probably not for somebody who just understands flight better than me, but it was tricky. The air brakes work really well. I didn't really think this cloud was going to be this this thick, but yeah, there we go.
Springfield 1, passing waypoint 1 at 8,000.
We're just going to do a straight in landing. I don't think I want to get fancy and do any kind of a realistic approach.
Infield 1-1, inbound. Infield 1-1, located 56039, 40, QFE 28.29, runway 13, to pattern altitude.
I think this thing wants to land fast, which is that's fairly typical of severe swept wing, delta wing type jets, especially older ones. They kind of need to land fast, is my understanding. I could be wrong, but that's my understanding. Don't think, yeah, there we go.
Infield 1-1, request landing. Infield 1-1, located, clear to land, runway 13.
Gear down. And I'm actually going to add a decent amount of power because I think it's going to need it. We're already shaking.
Springfield 1, passing waypoint 2 at 8,000.
And we're going to try to just fly it onto the runway a little bit. We're probably a little high, though, to be coming in this fast. Yeah. One of those needles just jumped like crazy. Alright, so we're going to bring it down pretty fast. Flare. Brakes. And shoot. I think our chute is out. Now, I don't know how to cut the chute away. I don't know that I figured that out. Normally I bind that, but one thing about chutes, you kind of don't want to stop, because then you'll never get off the runway. So at least some jets are that way. So we're going to just keep going till we get the taxiway, since I didn't bind the chute cut off. Unless it's some kind of an automatic thing, which I doubt. We'll just keep trucking until we get up here to the taxiway, and then we will taxi off, and then we're not going to worry about the chute. And don't forget, you've got to hold your button. I've got it set up for my my paddle switch on my stick for my nose wheel steering. And now that we're off the runway, let's go look and just see if there's a chute cut. Dragging chute. So let's just hit it again and see what happens. Hey, you just hit it again and it goes away. Nice. Didn't think about that. I think in the MiG-21 there's a separate function for making it go away. I wonder if I can pop it out again, like in that game, Just Cause. I think like Batman has a thing like that too. Nope, no second chute. Okay. All in all, this jet handles okay, and you know, somewhat believable for a simple flight model Century fighter, or interceptor really, but it's kind of fun. And that Air Genie was a little bit surprising. I don't know that any of the other missiles are going to be that fun to deal with, and since it doesn't have a cannon, you can't really get into any dogfights or anything like that. But all in all, this is a fun little addition. And like I said at the beginning of the video, if for no other reason than to have just more assets to do more different scenarios for like AI aircraft or for cinematics or things like that, that's still really, really cool. So I'm very happy with this. It's a pretty jet. I've always been really interested in Century fighters and these older jets, so it's quite cool. Oh, he likes that breeze. My homeboy getting that breeze. I like it. So, with all of that, I hope you've enjoyed this video, learned something maybe, or just had fun with it, enjoyed it, all that good stuff. And we will catch you guys next time. Happy flying.